Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is very exciting because today is a collab with I'm Jamila. So Jamila, if you don't already know, is another content creator on this app, and she is someone that I really admire and really love the content of. So she is a smaller creator like me. I think she's just under 1,000 subscribers, and her goal is to, make beautiful content, but also to help people find high-end and luxury makeup at affordable prices. And she is very good about that. She is the reason I found out about that McGrath glitch that had things at below 50%. I'm still waiting for that one to ship or be canceled or figure out what's going on there. But she's definitely the person to follow if you want to find out about really great deals like that. So like I said, Jamila has a focus on finding luxury and high-end makeup at affordable prices, but she doesn't just use luxury and high-end makeup. She's been trying a lot of new brands lately. She's been trying a lot of indie brands, and I think it's really interesting to see her opinions on them as she tries them out. She just makes everything look effortless, and she combines colors really beautifully, and I just think her content is great. And when she reached out and asked if I'd like to collab, I was like, of course. So, I also really love that she works in public health. I don't, that's not the type of science I do, but because of the department I'm in, I have had a lot of exposure to the anthropology side of public health, and so there's that always something there that we can talk about as well that's not just makeup. And if you're new here or just came over from Jamila's channel, welcome. My name is Colin. I'm a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup with a soft spot for indie makeup and colorful makeup, and I have new videos every week, so I'd love to have you subscribe. So for today's video, we wanted to do looks with a palette that we both have and love, and we wanted to do a more wearable, daytime, easy to do look and a more dramatic nighttime look, one of us doing each. So we picked the Natasha Denona Gold palette because even though it's limited edition and technically discontinued at this point, we both really love this palette. There's also some dupe palettes out there that are the exact same color story, and there's some similar colors in a lot of palettes, so even if you don't have this, you should be able to recreate this or use this as inspiration using what you have in your own collection. And that's something that I really like to do on this channel as well, because I don't think you need to go out and buy everything, and I might be reviewing a palette that you have something similar to, and you can just use what I did as inspiration to use yours, what you already own more. So I'm gonna be doing the more wearable daytime look today. So there's a lot of quick, easy, wearable looks you can do with this palette. This is one of my favorite neutral palettes for that reason. The tones in this just work well with my skin tone, and it's just effortless and beautiful. So you could easily do a look that's like picking one of these shimmers, putting it on the lid, like one of the smoother ones, blending out the edge with one of the mattes, or start with the matte, put one of the sparkly shimmers on it looks. I want to try and do something that's a little different than that, but still easy and approachable and wearable for the daytime or office. So like I said, this is a discontinued palette, but a lot of people do have it because it's probably her most popular palette. Alter Ego plus I think another brand have dupe versions of it where you're not going to get the same formula but the same color story. And then a lot of these shades are a little more easily dupeable, like you've got a lot of browns of different undertones. So one of the things that I love about this palette is that it's got like warm neutrals, cool neutrals, these gold tones, brass tones, and then it's got these really beautiful teal shades. And I know a lot of people, these are the least used shades in the palette because blue and teal are intimidating for a lot of people. So I wanted to use these in a approachable way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start, I've already primed with my Urban Decay eye primer, and I'm gonna start by putting a matte on my lid. I could do the shade up here, especially if you're lighter in skin tone than me, this would be a great shade to use. I'm gonna use Dijon because I really like the way this like mustardy brown works against my skin tone because I'm an olive. So I'm gonna start with that shade, and then I want to incorporate the dark teal, but in an approachable way, and that's not just like a teal smoky eye. So So I'm gonna take this Rephr brush. This is a Rephr 1, but any brush like this will work. I like this to do this kind of look because it's fluffy for blending, but it's also tapered, so it's good for packing on a shade as well. So I'm gonna just pick up some of Dijon, tap off the excess, because I always do. And then I'm just going to place that all over my lid and into my crease. So the reason I like a brush like this is because I can pick up the product on the flatter side, tap it all over, and then use the fluffy end to blend. I also start with a lighter shade, but I think this is the right depth for my skin tone. And so this covered my lid really nicely. This is the kind of shade that I would wear to work really easily for an all matte look. And then I'm gonna take the lighter shade up here. This is the shade Aria. It's this top one up here. This is the lightest shade in the palette. Pick up a little bit of that. And I'm gonna use that to make sure the edges are blended nicely. And you could easily just use that shade instead of this one for the whole look. If I find this type of brush isn't blending as much as I want, you can always rotate it up to its side. So instead of being in your crease this way, it's sideways, and then you get a little bit of an extra blend up. So this next part you could do with either a liner brush. This is the Rephr liner brush. It's very tiny and really good for a precise line. Or my favorite way to do this kind of a look is to take a pencil brush. This is the larger from Rephr. This is the 26. But you can also use something like the Rephr 3, which is more of a normal size pencil brush. I just like this big one, but I also have pretty big eyes. I'm a big human. And I'm gonna take the dark teal shade. So this is the shade Python. So this is one of her cream to powder formulas, which I love. That's why I love Natasha Denona palettes. So I'm gonna pick that up and you can see how dark it is. Sometimes they generally blend out a little bit lighter than they look there. But to add a bit of a pop of color, but in a quick, easy, approachable way, is to use it as liner. So I think, especially if you're scared of using color in your looks and you just tend to stick with neutrals, but you have palettes that have like neutral with a pop of blue or something like this, especially if it's a darker shade, is try it as liner. It's a very easy, wearable, approachable way to add that pop of color and add that contrast without having to do like a big monochromatic blue eye or something. So I'm gonna take this shade on this pencil brush, and I'm just going to draw the wing that I want. So for me, what I do and why I like this shade is why I like this brush is I can just hold it right here and place it where I want and kind of just draw a wing. And if you want, then you can take a small brush like this liner brush, dip into it again, and just run it across the lower lash or the lash line like you would with a liner. And if you don't want a larger wing like this, you could easily just take this as, you know, a straight line across your lid. I like that little bit of a lift from doing my wing this way. And if you're worried about the shade, like a matte liner, not lasting all day, you can always spray your brush with setting spray and then dip it in and do this, and that'll help it last and make it a little more creamy and liner-like. So if you're very intimidated by color, especially like a blue or something, what I would recommend is picking a small liner brush like this, or just an angled liner brush, and then just doing a tight line, just doing a little line all across the lash line, put your mascara on, and that'll add that little pop, but it won't be overwhelming or as intimidating as maybe this might be. Okay, and so I know this might look like a pretty big wing. It's not that big, especially once I add mascara and stuff on. And then you could easily throw any of these shimmers on here. A lot of these are pretty bold shimmers, except for these like more sheer toppery ones at the top. But I think a way of adding a little bit of sparkle, especially if you're like, I know some people don't really like to wear shimmers during the day. It's more of a nighttime thing, but if you did want a little bit of pop, what I would do is I would take something like this shade here. This is Kava, I believe, yeah. Some shades I know the name of. Take that on a little pencil brush and then put that on your inner corner. And this is a pretty sheer shade, so it's just gonna add a little bit of a sparkly highlight without being overly glittery or overly dramatic. With this middle shade right here, Spark, that's just a little bit whiter and brighter, and I'm actually gonna take a little bit of that as well and put that right there. And if you're not scared, if you're not afraid of color and you want to go really into the blue, I would put the duochrome lime chrome on the inner corner, because that's got that gold lime, that lime teal shift, so it'll pair nicely with both of these. But I wanted to stick with something a little more neutral for this. So this, without talking, would have taken me like a minute, do the other eye in like a minute, out the door in 5 minutes after mascara and stuff. And you can put something on the lower lash line or not. That's really up to you. I know some people don't like to put too much underneath their eyes during the day. One thing you could easily do is take that lighter shade on the tip of a brush and just kind of smudge it right here. It adds a little bit of depth and dimension to your eye without making it too smoky. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead off camera, finish this on the other eye and add mascara and stuff, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I went ahead and I just copied this all on the other side, and then I threw on my favorite mascara, and that's it. No liquid liner, nothing to worry about. I already have liner on, and I really love this. This is, I think, a very easy way to incorporate some color without it being overwhelming or too colorful, especially if you're nervous about color. This is something that I would wear any day at work, any day I'm teaching. Adds a little bit of sparkle on the inner corner, adds a little bit of color here, but overall it's pretty all matte, or almost all matte, pretty neutral, and I think really easy and approachable. And it, without talking, this would have taken me like 5 minutes total for everything. So a couple minutes for my face, lip gloss, throw this on, call it a day. So I can't wait to see what Jamila does for her look. She's doing the nighttime, more dramatic look, so I'm sure it's gonna be very sparkly because of the shades in here. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the look, if this is something that you think you could try if you haven't done something like this before, and remember to go watch Jamila's episode and see what she does for her more dramatic take on the palette. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Jamila, for suggesting this video. I had a lot of fun doing this and thinking of this idea, or thinking of this look. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video.